Ready to go? After watching a film, it accentuates the frustration of not performing like we need to against a team like that. I really felt like the Saints were a really solid team across the board, and I really respect that kind of team because they're hard to beat, and that's kind of how they played. And they didn't get a lot of yards, and they didn't stop us yardage-wise and all that. They didn't need to. They just played good, hard football and were up for the opportunities and maximized them and did a nice job with it. And we left ourselves behind by such a margin that there wasn't enough time to get back in it to do it right. So we made enough errors and things, too, along the way that added to the frustration because we need to play a lot cleaner against a good football team, and we didn't do that. So it's a missed opportunity at home for sure. And there's just so many areas of our game that we can continue to improve at, that we can see what the potential is. We can see that illustrated, but we need to come through and play cleaner. And so that's really what the focus will continue to be. We haven't left that focus yet, but this game kind of accentuated it. And as you know, I hate learning the hard way, and we had to do some of that hard lessons in this game.
With the the fourth down kind of decisions that went down, why were you kind of regretful of those?
I was just disappointed. I just didn't feel like I controlled it right, and we didn't come through either. You know, we didn't make it. It makes it easy if we convert, but I was just disappointed that particularly, really, I was affected really by the last one when we were backed up and 9 minutes left or something. I should have kicked the ball there. I should have kicked it and then played to the next couple series. That was really the one that influenced me.
The first one, the Chris run?
No, that's an okay one to go for it if you're aggressive and you're going for it. You know, that's different and more midfield. But late in the game like that, backed up that far, you don't see me do that very often.
Some of the tackling issues, what did you see there?
We missed way more tackles than we have in any other game, and it was really on one guy. You know, Kamara was the guy. He did a fantastic job. I think we didn't know him well enough to adjust enough tackling-wise to compensate. He was really good, and I thought he was a big factor.
How do you address the fumble issue with Chris Carson without
every way possible? I'm sorry.
I was just saying, without affecting his confidence anymore.
Every way possible, you know. I think we have to, because we do believe in him, we're going to continue to show him that. And he's a terrific football player, and we want to make sure and maintain that level of play from him. So we'll work at it, you know, work with him on it. And there's a lot of technical stuff that's really important that you know, right down to the last instant of that play that he fumbled on. You know, there's another thing that he could do to ensure taking care of the ball a little bit longer. I mean, he thought he was secure and thought he'd taken care of it, and then bang, all of a sudden the ball comes out. And that's part of what's life. You know, that's real in the league and all that. And he's going to have to be really on it because guys are going to continue to come after him, and you know, just like anybody would.
Making fourth down decisions, how much of it is analytics and what numbers might suggest you should do, and how much of it is just gut feel and flow of the game?
It's some of both. Really. There are some times when, like at midfield, there's a lot of positives about going for it and making it there. You know, and you're not going to make them all. You know that, but they just added up a little bit in this one. You know, and I get to try and do hard too because I just want to. That's kind of the way I am. You know, and so I have to counter that at times.
You had a couple different and one and two situations where you tried to run it and weren't able to convert. For a team that wants to be as ground committed as you guys are, to not be able to come up with those, how pivotal is that for you guys?
Well, it is important to us, you know, and these guys in the room here, they want to be thought of as we're going to go for it too, you know, because we can, and we have to do a better job of that. There's so many little reasons in here why we did and what we did and all that kind of stuff, you know, that play into it. It's not random like it might seem, but we just need to execute better and come through and get it done. And if we're going to continue to be that kind of a team, if we can, we'll find that. It's early in the year. We're figuring it out. We had a great one last week. We didn't have the one we wanted this week.
Aside from the fumbles, how do you think Carson has played?
Oh, I like the way he's playing. I love the style of play. out of the backfield, he's added to his game. He's still running physical and tough and doing all the things that we're counting on. And there's nobody we'd rather have the ball in short yardage situations down by the goal line. He's great at it. So.
How's Bradley doing?
We won't know for a couple more days, but it's a slight sprained ankle, and so he's moving around okay. So he's got a chance.
Looking at the film, was there anything the Saints did to eliminate your pressure from guys like Clowney and Ziggy?
Well, they're really good. They're really a good protection team and have been for a long time, scheme-wise and principles and athletes. They're good now. They blocked us. We didn't do a lot of blitzing in this game. We didn't feel like that was what was the right thing, and I didn't feel like the passing game really was the factor in the game. Like we couldn't stop them or anything. It didn't feel like that. So that was give and take a little bit in there, for certain reasons.
Pre-game, you basically took a punch to the face, and most of us, when we get hit in the workplace, we take the day off. Did you think it affected concentration at all?
No, I was pretty focused now. I had to run in and get fixed up and all that and sent back out into the ring, So, I don't know. I don't think so. I didn't have to go into the protocol. I know that.
What does LJ have to do to be active in the game?
Just keep working. He's just so new. He had a good opportunity last week because of the numbers on the roster and all that, and we're just trying to work him back up. And we're taking a look at guys. We had a chance to see Ziggy for the first time. We want to make sure and do that. And it'll right now at this early stage, it'll go back and forth a little bit until he gets enough playing time to establish himself. Be a good chance to be involved this week. We'll see.
What did you see from Ziggy on film?
He played really hard. He wasn't didn't use a real variety of rushes. Just kind of ran in there and just played hard and tough. Guys going against was really good, and he had a couple good rushes, but his effort was really consistent. And his power was there too, but he didn't finesse much. He pretty much just power rushed the whole game. And I think if he had to do again, he would mix it up a little bit. Some of the stuff he came up and under was effective, and but there was only a couple, so pretty straight, in the game. So this is his first game in almost a year, so he's just kind of getting going. It'd be like preseason game one.
How much did LJ Collier lose by that month plus? How much did that seem?
It does. It just does. It's like the time that Marquise was out too. You can't establish enough of a routine with the guy to know where he is and how far along he is and will he respond well and all that kind of stuff. Tactically, technically, all of that it does factor in. But I don't think it's not. We can't make it up. I think he's right on the edge. I expect him to get right back in there and be playing soon.
How much is Quentin Jefferson's play kind of kept, like yesterday, for instance?
He did really well again. He probably was the most outstanding guy up front, just activity-wise. So Quentin's doing a really good job. I just think we say it that way.
How much did you CJ Procise, what did you see from him, his decision-making, and...
CJ did fine. I thought we would get the ball more than that, but we ran the ball like 17, 18 times in the first half or whatever it was, and then it's 27-7, and we just couldn't stick with it. We just needed to see if we could speed it up and get ourselves back in the ball game, and so the running game wasn't as big a deal to us, so he didn't get the chances. But I expected him to be rotating just like we would rotate with Rashad, so we were counting on him to play more than that. He played. He played a lot of plays. He played 40 plays or something like that in the game, but he just didn't get the carries. But he's doing fine.
How has Michael Dixon been punting? Is his punt
Mike didn't have a good game for him. At 41 that's not the kind of average he normally gets. The return that they had was like a 38-yard punt that was like 4 or 5 though. He still got it up there, but not as. He had a great punt that pinned him, one that Ugo made the great play on, and all that, but not as consistent in this game as he has been.
How's Tedrick?
He's going to be. He's in the mix to try to get back this week. He'll have to show it that he can get the workload and make it through the week. So, but he's practicing with us this week for sure.
How's Dwayne Brown?
He's got a sore bicep, and there's a little bit of a strain there. And so we just got to wait and see. We'll hold him out a little bit, but he says, and we're thinking that he'll play, but we got to wait. We'll see what by the end of the week.
He took a hard hit at the end of the game.
He said it was knocked out of him.
In the run game, what would you like to see improve on the O-line as a group?
Just like to see consistency. We've had it's kind of big little right now. Chris had a couple runs that he popped out there, but not as much consistency as we would like. Russ added to it nicely, but 90 yards in the first half is a lot of yards. And we were out there running. We were going to have a day that we would have been proud of. I think running the football by the end of the game, but just the game and the makeup of it didn't allow us to stay with it.
Is Russell getting 7 rushes, is that a high number, or is this just what the defense gave him?
Not pretty much what the defense gave him, but that's more than he usually gets. He usually gets 4 or 5 or something in there, and we'll take more. It depends on what the game is and what they're giving us, but that's quite a few for him.
Even KJ, with what he went through a year ago, it seemed like he had one of his classic, really strong football games. Just to see where he's come back to, and
he's back. He's practicing regularly. We've got a great routine for him. He feels good. He feels healthy and all. You can see that the expertise. He's just a terrific football player and makes great decisions. And for the most part, he's making plays all the time. I think he had 13 tackles or something in the game or whatever. He had a bunch of tackles. Probably had 18, I think. So those two guys are, they're tearing it up pretty good.
As automatic as to say is you go to a quick passing game and negates the other team's pass rush, or are there things you can do to combat that and still have your pass rush be a force in the game?
Sure. Yeah. There's all kinds of things. You can max out the protections and chip on guys and move the quarterback and screen and draw and things like that.
The other way around.
I'm sorry.
When they went to a quick passing game, just like, hey, we're going to get Jadeveon Clowney and Ezekiel Ansah out of the game. And is there other ways you can combat that and say, well, our pass rush is still going to be a factor?
That side of it I'm not going to talk about. Okay. That's okay.
How much time
I
did
don't
you
mind generalizing about everybody's offense anywhere, but specifically, no. Go ahead.
How much time did you spend on going over what happened before the end of the first half and the time management when it came to that?
No, we've gone over it clearly. With 33 seconds, I'll give you a little bit. With 33 seconds, you don't have a lot of time. Things got to kind of happen, and so you want to get something on every play to get a feel for it. And the first play, if we sputtered a little bit, Russ had to dump the ball off, and so now it's down to the time's already down. You're not sure if you're going to get anything. Is it worth taking a shot? And sure enough, the second play, Russ finds a way to bomb. And so had I known that was going to happen, we would have just burned the timeout right off the bat. But you look back, it was easy now to see what we should have done, but we didn't quite get off like we liked to at the start of it.
Still hoping Rashad Penny will be back this week?
Yeah, and he'll be able to practice this week too, probably by Thursday to some degree. We need to see if he can tolerate it and what that means. We don't know yet.
Speaking of the injury report, though, how's your nose?
Doing good. Just not to speak about what it looks like, but it's doing good. I don't feel anything.
Looking ahead to Arizona really quick, Kyler Murray's kind of a guy that leads. Like not really vocal, he's more.
There's a really good chance I'm not going to look ahead here, but I'll try and answer this question, okay?
With him specifically as like a leader, not a vocal guy, do you think it's important for a quarterback to kind of stay who he is, be true to himself when he's leading and not trying to be something
Yeah,
he's
no,
not?
I'm serious. I'm kidding about looking ahead. I think everybody has to do that to be at their best. And not everybody does and all that, but he's a fantastic athlete, and he can throw the ball all over the place, and you can see why he's that pick and all of that. He's already played a bunch of ball, and he's got a lot of experience already. His arc is going to be, a steep one. He's going to go, and so his numbers aren't great yet. The QB rating isn't high, but he's already completing over 60% of his passes, and he's made a bunch of plays, and he's averaging over 6 yards a carry, and he's figuring into what's going on in a big way, and he's a handful. It's pretty clear to see his style and to see his talent. It's not like you have to wait and see. He's loaded with talent. Great arm, great release, touch, can make all the throws, and he can escape, and he can run when they want to run. So he's got all that already in his package of what he presents you as a defense and an opponent. So, this is the sooner you play him, the better, because he's going to get really, really good as he moves along.
As a leadership like quality, though, does authenticity have a lot of value when guys like, no, you're just being who you are?
Gosh, I think so. I think that's the world. If you're trying to be something you're not, most people can figure that out, and it's really hard to be something that you're not. You're going to make mistakes doing that, and so I think you got to be as true as you can.
What do you think about Trey Flowers' performance?
Trey played fine. He really only had one ball and got shoved on one pass, and that was it. So he did fine.
Your team's been so good over the years in the fourth quarters. Just when that's the case, does it sometimes take away from the sense of urgency to open games?
I don't think so. I don't think they have the mentality of all those years. I think these guys are playing right now. It's a great asset to have it, but sometimes you can just leave the challenge too big and the mountain's too tall to climb. You don't have enough time. But I don't think anybody thinks like that. I surely don't. We'd like to start fast, but I'm not going to fret when we don't. We just need to get going and get playing. If you think about it, the very first play of the game, we had a penalty. It's 1st and 20. Then we lost a couple, and then we completed another one, and we lost a couple more, and then we punted it, and they ran it back for a touchdown. That's our start to the game. That's about as bad a start as you can have, other than just giving the touchdown right off the bat. So we were overcoming from the beginning. Got back to sevens, and here we go. Game starts over again, and we should. I needed to stick with that more. The game was a good, close game, and against a good team, and that's why I got some questions in myself. I got to do better. I got to coach better.
What was your overall assessment of Russell's day?
I thought he had a big day. Obviously, scrambled beautifully for big plays, made good decisions. He hit almost everything he threw for the first half of the game. His numbers evened out a little bit. There's two huge plays in the game. The corner out to Locke for the touchdown on 4th down, just missed it by a hair, and he got spanked pretty good on that one. And then the other one, he did a great job and had the ball up to Malik. We needed to hit Malik on that other 4th down play. So there's those two plays. I know it's killing him that he didn't get those. But all in all, he ran the ball really well, scrambled well, good decisions down in the red zone. We're playing really good red zone football, and he's part of it, right in the middle of all that. So he's really controlling the game. He's in control of it. We just need to keep going. I think a lot of good things are going to happen. The receivers, Diss is doing a great job, Disley, and in complimenting as the inside guy and all that. So there's a pretty good mix right now. We just got to get it all together.
How much does Russell's ability to scramble, get away, extend, work against him with officials letting him get hit boundaries?
Hey, I'm worried about that, Greg. Really, I'm anxious to hear what they thought about the hit on the sidelines. I see what they saw. They saw the contact, but hit him drove him into the turnbuckle over there. That's an old wrestling term, okay? Because do they call it the turnbuckle anymore? I don't think so. But I know Russ feels like that a little bit. He feels like he's kind of subject to because he's moving around. There's a little more latitude, and there's been some other quarterbacks that have spoken to that as well. I don't know if that's the case at all. I can't tell you that it is, but he has taken some shots. The one last week was legit that we know, and this one might not have been. This one's pretty close. It's a hard one to call. It's just that the follow through on the tackle was so far out of bounds. That there's something that to question, I guess. At least we'll ask.
Al's illegal formation, did that look correct to you when you went back and looked at it?
Yeah, it did. It did. It was just, it's a couple inches, and it's a new rule and all that. And the official stepped in there to really double check it and make sure he saw it. I kind of, as I saw him step up, I was hoping he was going to pat him on the hip and tell me, hey, you're in the, but he didn't. And so that was a really, really costly penalty. Unfortunately. And it's just a matter of lining up, and this guy's, here's your shoulder, if you're here, it's a penalty. If you're here, you're not, and so it's good. The rule's fine. I don't care about the rules so much, but we were wrong.
Is that usually proactively officiated, though, that they'll talk?
I think they've changed that. That was, and when the first year it went in, they'd go in there and tell them they weren't going to tell them anymore. Get it right. And so that's why I thought the guy was stepping in, he was going to do it, because I just from way over on the side, I just kind of caught that action. He stepped up and he took a look, and then he stepped back, and so we didn't get the benefit of that.
You guys released Ja'Kai Polite today off the practice squad?
Yeah, we're just moving on, making a spot. We got another guy coming in.
Pete, on Will Dissly on that seam route, is it just his ability? Are teams having to compensate for Tyler Lockett, or
So when Will Dissly's
his ability to be open in the middle there, the seam route?
Well, I think he's pretty. I think it's just classically tight end play, you know, and he's got good feel, and Russ really has confidence in him. He makes all the catches, you know, and he's good with the ball and all. I mean, I just think he's just made himself a factor by doing right and doing well and coming through. It's a marvelous addition, you know, when you have your guys outside that you're trying to work with too, and it makes us somewhat, you know, we're getting to where we can have a real complete attack there, you know, with. We get the big guys outside, the fast guys outside, and we get, you know, the big guy in the middle, and the backs can be a part of it. So we're able to mix it around pretty good.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thanks.